Hi, fourth grade writers. Today you're going to need your pencil, writing notebook, and you actually don't, yes, you do need your glue stick because you're going to need a copy of this guy also to glue into your writing notebook so you have a reference to look back on. So go ahead and print this out if you haven't, cut it out and get it glued into your resource section of your notebook. Pause the video if you need more time to do that. All right, so we're going to get started with reading it today. Go ahead and read it along with me, okay? Teammates. I don't want to play basketball this year if I can't play with my friends, I whined to my mom, who was busy packing my sports bag for the first practice of the season. My three best friends and I had tried out for the Elite League, and I was the only one who didn't make it. As if it wasn't enough of a bummer, our old team fell apart, and now I had to join a new team. Knowing that my mom wasn't going to let me drop out of my favorite sport without at least trying a new team, I reluctantly laced up my basketball shoes and got in the car. I continued my whining. No one's going to talk to me. They're all going to have best friends already. When I got to practice, all of the other players were huddled in groups. They were telling jokes, catching up, and passing the ball. I stood awkwardly on the sidelines as I waited for the coach to start practice. I gave my mom an "I told you so" look. The coach blew her whistle, and all of the rest of the boys formed a circle mid-court. I followed, choosing the only gap in the circle, which awkwardly happened to be the farthest from where I was standing. "We have a new teammate this season," the coach announced. I could feel my face turning as red as an apple, and I wished that she hadn't called attention to me. It was already obvious that I was new to the team. "Everyone, say hi to Sergio," she continued. The team all made gestures of greeting. Half waves, thumbs up, even a salute. I felt like they were eyeing me, wondering if I was any good at basketball. Our first drill was passing the ball up and down the court. A boy named Sean immediately asked me to partner up with him. The second drill was a layup practice. Another boy named Lucas said that he would take turns passing to me. And by the end of practice, I had partnered up with almost everyone on the team. We circled up and gave a cheer. "See you next practice," said one teammate. "Good work today," said a second teammate. "Nice layups," said a third. "Do you want to practice with me after school tomorrow?" asked another. As we drove home, my mom said, "It looks like you had a good practice." "Yeah, Mom," I said. "They're pretty cool." Although I didn't want to admit it, I realized that practice today was what being part of a basketball team was supposed to feel like. I knew I could still hang out with my best friends and make more friends on my new team, too. So let's take a look through. I want to reread just some of our sentences. I want to reread this one at the beginning. "I don't want to play basketball this year if I can't play with my friends," I whined to my mom. Or this one here. Where did it go? "No," I continued my whining. "No one's going to talk to me. They're all going to have best friends already." Or down here, "We have a new teammate this season," the coach announced. What do you notice all those sentences have in common? They all have those parentheses around it. Yeah, good eye. So, that is called dialogue. When authors want to share the exact words that their characters are using, we call it dialogue. Using dialogue helps readers to better understand the story and feel like they're really there. They can hear exactly what you heard when you were there. Sometimes it might be close words, because it's really hard to remember exact words from a while ago, but you want them to feel like they're there with you in the story. So let's get that marker that you had out. We're going to highlight a few examples of dialogue. Let's do this first one. "I don't want to play basketball this year if I can't play with my friends," I whined to my mom. Now, even though the rest of our sentence goes on, that's kind of the end of our dialogue because it tells us what was said and who said it. The next part tells what mom was doing. That's not part of the dialogue, so we want to go with just what goes with the words in the quotation marks. Let's look at the next paragraph. Do you see any dialogue that we can highlight? Good. So it starts down here, but does it really start with the no ones? No, it actually starts back here with "I continued my whining." No one's going to talk to me. They're all going to have best friends already. Nice. Now take a look at this one. Even though it's in quotation marks, is it really what the boy is saying? No, it's just describing his look, almost like his look is talking, but is the look actually saying words? No, so we don't want to highlight that one. But let's look at down here 2 more paragraphs. We have a new teammate this season, the coach announced. We always give some sort of direction to say who is saying it, right? And then everyone say hi to Sergio, she continued. Good. All right, and then our next ones aren't till down here. We have see you next practice, said one teammate. Good work today, said a second teammate. Nice layups, said a third. Do you want to practice with me after school tomorrow, said another. Now the next one is a little different. Where are we going to start this one? Good. My mom said, it looks like you had a good practice. Because as we drove home, is that part of the dialogue? No, that's more of that action going on. Yeah, Mom, I said, they're pretty cool. That time the author put it in between 2 things that they said. Nice. All right, so we have our examples done. Let's look at our anchor chart from last time that we did. We have 1 more box to fill in, if I remember right. We have this bottom right one to fill in. So we're talking about another way you can start your story is with dialogue, by words that the characters are saying. You can jump right in with a sentence, okay, with somebody saying something. So go ahead and add my example to your last box in your dialogue anchor chart. Okay, so before we go on to your turn for writing, I want you to see an example of how we are going to add dialogue. Because this is like the middle of my story. I picked a paragraph from, or a part of my story from the middle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some speaking words. So what I'm going to do is I'm thinking through, I'm going to read through, and I'm trying to find where are times that I remember now that I said something in my story, or my sister said something in my story. Okay. So my sister was running to the game ahead of me. She's always trying to beat me. I sprinted to try and catch up. She looked back and smiled at me as she reached the booth. I made it there a few seconds later. We took up our rings and waited for the game to start. Allison threw her rings as fast as lightning, but none of them stuck. So I'm thinking back through times that me and my sister were talking during this, because it wasn't just us standing there going, or like walking up to the game. We talk in our story, okay, when this really happened. So my sister was running to the game ahead of me. She's always trying to beat me. Oh, I remember now when she was running. I said, so I'm going to add a little, it's called a caret. It looks like a little triangle. And then I'm going to add my dialogue because I have space in between here. I skipped a line. I'm going to say, wait for me, I shouted at Allison. I'm going to make sure I put that kind of by my little caret so I know that these 2 sentences go together. Good. Oh, my light's turned off. There we go. All right, so wait for me, I shouted at Allison. I sprinted to try and catch up. She looked back and smiled at me as she reached the booth. I made it there a few seconds later. We took up our rings and waited for the game to start. Oh, I remember when we were waiting. Allison and I were waiting to know when to start. So this time, I don't have much room over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my... Is it going to let me do this? It's not. So let's try this. We said, we were waiting around, and it was 3, 2, 1, go! The game director told us. Now, I might have had more room on the side. Remember how we blocked off that right side of our page? I can write over there. And then what I can do is to say, I want it right here. So then I'm going to do an arrow. So if you have lines in between, you can do it in between and add a little caret. Or you can do it off to that side on the right side and do an arrow to the spot that you need to put that sentence, that dialogue. Now, not after every sentence are you going to add dialogue. I want you to look through, though. Where's a natural spot? Where did you say words when you're replaying the story in your head? I want you to go back to your draft now. Ooh. And you're going to go back, and I want you to find it. It should be in your masterpiece section, your same draft, okay? And I want you to go back to that small moment in time. As you read through, think, what words did we say? The characters in there, what did I say? What did my mom, my sister, the mall worker, what did they say during that time? Okay? Don't worry about punctuation. Use that little caret or the arrows to draw your spaces in if you need, remember. Just work on adding some sentences where characters were talking in your story. Okay, where does that fit in? And if you finish before your 15 minutes are up, go ahead and turn to that more story section and work on your other drafts that you're doing in there. Okay? So go ahead and work. Let me know if you have questions.